Hello, welcome to Guns and Yellow Ribbons Live. I'm Fergus, I'm your host, and we've got a new flashy logo up there, up that corner, that corner, that corner. It even says we're live. I am joined tonight by a partner in crime, the man who got me in a right state on Sunday. Trevor, I blame the Camden.
Hello, Fergus. Hello, everybody. Listen, Fergus was in a right state on Sunday, but it was none of my doing. Totally self-inflicted, let me tell you. Hilarious episodes at the Emirates after the game. Very enjoyable, though. Great company, but I am not taking any blame for it. It's not happening, Fergus.
Corey, we're back in. How are you doing, mate?
I'm good. Glad to be back.
What's with Team USA?
My guy Tyson Fury conquered this country right here on Saturday night. So I thought I'd wear this just to, celebrate his win.
Okay. That's fair enough. And the heating's on up in Scunthorpe. He's no hat on. How are we doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Good. And
I
liked Wilder's excuse, by the way, Corey. I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah, the heavy suit. Yeah, you know what?
£40.
Wilder's my guy as well. I'm a big fan, but I'm like, mate.
Whatever. It's full of windmills.
Even if it's true, don't say it.
Nah, £40 wouldn't ruin him. He only walks 100 meters. If that.
Yeah, to be honest, it was a feeble excuse, but I'm not a boxing aficionado. I did get up at 4:00 in the morning rather than should have got 5, and I think that might have accounted for some of my my video evidence of me standing out by Tony Adams singing 49-49 undefeated with Dan at 7:30 on Sunday evening after I was force-fed Camden Lager by Trevor. I don't like Camden. I was all right on the Budweiser, but you forced me on the Camden.
Of course it was.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, there are a couple of shout-outs. Yeah, it was all my fault.
Yeah. There's a couple of shout-outs I did want to do. It was Terry's birthday, so again, another reason for having a few beers. We had Rebecca there as well with us, who was an Everton fan, and she was waxing lyrical about how good Theo Walcott is and Alex Iwobi is, and hey, we were with Tim and Carol, and also a shout out to a Manchester fan, Donna's mum, called Alison. Apparently, I've got a silky voice, so this is for you, Alison. I am the Barry White of Ireland, apparently.
Oh, no. Move on.
Alison happens to be my mother-in-law, and I know she's not the best at hearing. So, yeah.
Cheers, Trev. Thanks. I need all the compliments I can get. I need all. I need to, stroke my ego an awful lot more. Sammy in the chat is saying she can't hear anything. Refresh your screen; it might come up. It's all working fine at this end, and everything's looking okay at this end. So we're going to look in this order. We're going to look at the Everton game first, because that's the one we were at Sunday. And then, Trevor, you were out at the Olympiacos game last Thursday, which we've done a couple of bits and pieces on YouTube and Facebook and Periscope on Thursday morning and Thursday evening. And you're going to the game on tomorrow night. Unfortunately, I'm not able to get to the game because I'm away with work, but there are people taking my seats. 3 games in 7 days. They had a couple of weeks off. So, it was always going to be tough. Corey, what did you make of the lineup, first of all?
Interesting in that Ceballos kept his place.
Yeah.
Saka started on the bench. Aubameyang on the left again. And Nketiah obviously getting another start. So it was interesting. But, Saka ended up coming on and he ended up being sort of pivotal in the win. So maybe wasn't the best selection because Klesniak wasn't really doing anything up until that point. But hey, look, we got off to a slow start, but got the win in the end. So I guess it was the right lineup.
And Klasniak is now out for a few games. I don't know how long, but they're talking about quite a serious injury with his shoulder injury. Did you think, Mike? Did you think he was? Doing anything? What did you make of the? What was he on there for about 11 or 12 minutes? What did you make of the small cameo performance he had?
He won't be missed.
Okay.
Short and sweet. Nothing to say, really. No, it looked like a bad fall, so hopefully he's all right in that. And I can't see him being missed. I can't see why they replaced Saka, to be honest, but it's just the way it goes. But yeah, it was a bad fall, and he looked like he hit his head quite hard, so maybe knocked some sense into him a little bit. I don't know.
Okay. Trev, what did you make of that lineup? And, Ozil and Ceballos in the centre. What did you make of that in the midfield?
Yeah, much like the last game in Olympiacos, Fergus. I've got no problem with any selections he picks at the moment. He's they all seem to have upped their game, and in Arteta I trust. I was gutted that Saka didn't start, as you know. I mean, I don't mind Kolasinac, unlike most people, but I was surprised Saka didn't start. But then again, he's only a kid, and I do really think we said it when we saw the game announced last week. I think he was probably thinking, I'll give Saka a rest. We want to win the game on Thursday, and then we've got a game again on Monday in the FA Cup. Two big opportunities to get into Europe those ways, and it wouldn't surprise me. Well, I'll be very surprised now, especially with Kolasinac being injured, if Saka don't start these next two games in these next two cup games.
And I think the thing with Saka in particular, I think he doesn't necessarily want to be playing as a left back. I think he wants to be playing as a winger. So with having a fully fit and available left back, they had to put Kolasinac on the pitch, I think. And I think it would be the same scenario we talked about, I think, last week. When Tierney comes available, they'll put Tierney in that position. 49 seconds, 49, and we nearly got defeated. 49 seconds to concede. We got caught really cold with that Calvin. I was going to say Calvin Klein. I've said it so many times. Calvin Lewin goal. Corey, what did you make of the goal? Calvin Lewin is, quite a handful of a player, and Ancelotti has got the better of him recently. Got the best out of him recently.
Yeah, no, well done to him for taking a chance. I think it was more us being poor defensively that led to the chance. So, but well done to him for capitalizing on it. But we still need to look at ourselves, and we need to defend better from set pieces. Definitely, he shouldn't have got to that. That should have got cleared.
But do you not think, on the whole, that we seem to have been better defensively? Over the last, we've got 10 games under Arteta now. In the league, and over the last 3 or 4 games, I've seen a bit more defensive structure, that where the back four are. Okay, it might have been thrown out a little bit by having Kolasinac in. Do you not think that defensively we've actually improved? And
we have improved, and you can see like Mustafi's got his confidence back. He's confident enough to dye his hair now. So he couldn't have done that before, but he's put a few performances together, and all of a sudden, he's going blonde. But we have improved, but that doesn't mean that we're allowed to concede really easy chances every now and then. We need to be consistent defensively, and that wasn't a goal I was happy to concede. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it, but then I think our positioning wasn't great, and we could have avoided that goal.
Okay, Mike. John Walsh says Mustafi has been like a new signing since Arteta. I know you're a big fan, and I know you have a phrase which we're going to get printed on T-shirts and everything.
Well, me too. Be gone in the summer.
Actually, there was talk of him saying he may be extending his term at Arsenal. What have you thought of his performance of late? We saw him. He had a good game up at Burnley. He had a reasonably good game again on Sunday. He's had a good game out in Athens. What's your thoughts on it? Because you're not his biggest fan, obviously.
No, I'm not, and I think to what we were saying a minute ago, I just want to just point that out about what we were saying a minute ago. I think the Everton game was the first game that I've noticed that we've had a real big test on set pieces, and every single one that was against us looked like a worry. After the first goal, it was like a panic stations. People weren't lining up straight. People weren't getting in where they needed to be in defence and stuff. There was gaps all over the place, even on a few other ones. Over the course of the game, there was still gaps in places where there shouldn't be. So I think that was a real big test to us against Everton, and obviously it showed. And that's where I think we're still struggling in set pieces. We're not really pulling up that defensive duties and not pulling up the lines, and there's no leader there to shout at him to tell him to where to go. I think Leno a couple of times had a go at a couple of people, which I found was brilliant through them set pieces. But as we're saying about Mustafi, yeah, he's stepped up a bit, and it's what can I say? It's about time, innit? It's about time he stepped up. But there is them mistakes still in him. He still does the odd mistake, and fortunately so far these mistakes haven't costed us really a goal. And I think as soon as that mistake happens, when it's going to be inevitable, once that mistake does actually happen and it concedes us a goal, then I think it's just the tide's going to turn on him again. Sorry.
And Trev, we talked about Saka. Saka gave a great assist for Eddie's goal. Let's talk about the assist first of all, and then talk about Eddie's goal itself. And who did it look like? It looked well. I'll leave it to you, Trev. What did you make of Eddie's goal?
Oh, it was a classic. It was a classic Arsenal goal, wasn't it? It was lovely play beforehand, and the finish was just reminded me a bit of Wrighty, actually. The finish, the way he was in there, just sneak on the end of it, put it away. Boys, I can't move on without going back to Mustafi. Mike, you were absolutely right to give him a hard time, and I agree with you. But when a player pulls his socks up like he has over the last few weeks, we've got to give credit as well. And I'm very happy with him. And I'd had a few beers, and wasn't Corey? You mentioned it just now, mate. Our first goal that we gave away early, wasn't that a mistake by Luis? Didn't Luis miss the headed clearance?
I think it was both.
If you
look at the way, if you look where the ball fell,
sure.
their positioning wasn't great, either of them.
Too far apart.
Yeah, there's a wide gap that Calvert-Lewin
exploited massively.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I just want to go what you were saying there, Trev. I think Richards hit the nail on the head.
As well.
Yeah. Sorry.
What you got to remember as well, boys, is
we have to hang on, Trev. Hang on. We have to explain. Trev is in a caravan in the Lincolnshire countryside at the minute on his son's farm. So his broadband is not the best in the world. So there is a slight delay. So let's see if we can get Trev in. Go on, Mike. You say what you're going to say, and then Trev go. So Mike, go what you.
I'm just going to repeat what Richards just said on there. It's the defense looks better because they have more protection in front of them now, and I think he's right there. I've noticed with the last couple of games with Xhaka and Ceballos, they don't tend to run forward that much. They're always there. That double pivot is working really well at the minute, and that
you can see
is
that
showing with our defense.
Yeah. Trev, do you want to go on that?
Sorry, boys. Yeah, sorry, boys. My internet is a bit delayed, isn't it? But I couldn't agree more with Mike and what he's just said there. The midfield working hard. Of course, it's protecting the back three, and long may it last, because that's what other teams have been doing all season, and now our midfield are picking up and doing the same. I mean, all of them, they've all picked their game up. Even Ozil's running around like a chicken, and the work that Aubameyang does, now, up and down the field is amazing. You watch him for 5 minutes during any game over the last couple of weeks. It's been fantastic. So, yeah, of course, that's right. The midfield are playing better, putting in more effort levels, and so the defence are going to be more organised. And don't forget, right, we've given an early goal away against a side like Everton that are above us in the league. They've got the best manager in the world now working with them and organising them. And we stuck with it. We didn't capitulate, and we came back and we managed to win the game. Some might say slightly lucky. I might say you need a bit of fortune to win any game. So yeah, I'm very happy with it all going at the moment. I am absolutely happy.
So many Gooners missed the opening goal that Everton scored in 49 seconds because of just getting into the stadium and everything else. We went
I missed it. And I was watching on TV. I said even I missed that. Missed it. I just turned it on. I thought I was like 5 minutes behind on bloody telly. I was like, oh, quick, get it on. Oh, all right. 1-0 down already.
And we got the equaliser, obviously, with Eddie's goal, which I thought was excellent. Just the way he got up and leaped for that goal. It looked Bergkamp. It looked Henry. It was really spectacular the way he leaped up for that goal. David Luiz, though, came in with a great assist for Aubameyang's goal. You know, how much has he improved, David Luiz? A player that we were going, Jesus Christ, he's a 2 out of 10, won most games, and maybe a 10 out of 10. I'm seeing a lot more 8 to 9s, maybe 7s and 8s, maybe, as a consistent sort of. He's been very consistent in the defence alongside Mustafi, and now he's moving up the pitch and assisting Aubameyang. Corey?
It was a good assist. It was good, but we know he can do that. That's one of his attributes. Playing from the back, long or short, but really good sort of long passes. He can spot forward runners. So defensively, yeah, he has improved. I would say that we've had a decent run in that we haven't faced a Man City or a Liverpool. That's really gonna sort of see where we are defensively. But from what we
facing Everton was as close as we were going to get to one of the top sides in the sense, like
and Everton have done all right. Listen, Everton were where we were at some point. They weren't playing great. They had to sack their manager. Ancelotti's come in. He's obviously improved them, but I'm not putting them up there as like an elite team. They've done all right, but it's Calvert-Lewin. Who was he, before Ancelotti got there? Nobody rated him as a top striker.
But you talk about Ancelotti, and people have said, who was Arteta? And we should have had Ancelotti instead of Arteta. So, that was almost a test as well. It was a test of managers as much as it was a test of teams. Were both teams probably on similar level. As Trev said, they're slightly higher up in the league, and they had been doing better than us. They'd spent more money in the summer than us. They had done more aggressive stuff in the market than we had. And they had gone out and got Ancelotti. We'd got who's proven. He's won leagues. He's won Champions Leagues, in several different countries. And we got Pep's number 2.
Yeah,
and
but
that was a huge thing.
But my point is that they're not an elite team. I don't think Ancelotti is happy with the team as it is. I don't think that's the team that he's just a team that he's inherited. So I'm not putting them up there as a real. They've been on good form, but they're not a real test for us yet. And we still
disagree with you, Corey. There, mate. I think it was a test. It was a test for both teams because you got to think of it this way: these teams are Everton team and our team are probably on par of what team how they play at the minute and the level of the squads. I think they're actually, I think they're on par with each other. So I think it's definitely a test for both teams rather than just Arsenal. But I agree with you in some respect. They're not an elite team.
They're not an elite team. They're just a team that are in the same position as us. Yeah. They were away. We were at home. We scored 3. They scored 2.
They were the hardest.
It's pretty much like what's supposed to happen.
They were probably the hardest opposition outside Chelsea that we faced since we had Arteta in place.
That's what I mean. So we faced Chelsea. We conceded 2 goals. We faced Everton. We conceded 2 goals. So it's not like I'm not sort of like doing a sing and dance about where we are defensively as a team because we're still conceding when we face good teams. However, we're scoring a bit more now, so it's not costing us as much as it could.
Just before half time,
Liverpool conceded 2 goals at home this week against a team that are not fit to lace Everton's boots.
Liverpool are 22 points clear at the top from second place.
But they conceded.
I know they could afford
2 goals at home.
Hey, if we were 22 points clear, I don't mind conceding 2 goals to West Ham. Honestly, but we're not in that position. We're in a position where
training match, Trev.
You what, mate?
I said that's Liverpool's training match, mate.
Yeah,
but
they're not playing for anything anymore. The title's probably just about theirs, aren't they? All they just got to do is walk it home.
Yeah,
trust me, boys. Remember our season? They're playing for a lot. They are playing to beat our record, and they are playing to go unbeaten. They're home and dry in the league, but they're not under pressure. Trust me, they've got other things in their head, just like we had going round that season when we went unbeaten. There's still a lot of pressure on them, and as we have been over the last few years, I never. Do you know what, Corey, Mike, Fergus? I never thought the day had come when I was comparing us to Everton, Sheffield United, Leicester. You know, I didn't, but we are. That's the level we're at. And I don't. If the way we've been, if we could see 2 goals at home, I'm not happy. But as long as we score 3 or 4, then I'll take the win and take the points.
Yeah, but Terry makes a good point on here as well. We faced Man United, conceded 0 goals. So comparing teams of who we're against at the moment, Leicester over the last 3 or 4 years have improved vastly. Everton, as I said, invested well and have improved. Other teams have improved. Okay. I wouldn't put your Sheffields in there yet because Southampton have done it every now and then and gone up and down the league and so on. But Everton consistently have been there or thereabouts in that top 10 and nudging on the European spots for a good few years. Leicester have been in and nudging on the European spots. We've dropped off. Chelsea have dropped off over time. Liverpool have dropped off. And Man United have, and Chelsea, all of them. All of the top 10 have all rotated over the years. Look, listen, just before half time, it was 3 minutes before after the 45-minute, absolute shambles of defence. Leno and Bellerin. Bellerin, for me, one of the worst, and this is going to sound really harsh, but one of the worst players on the pitch on Sunday, in my view. Defensively poor. Crossing, he didn't put in that many decent crosses, and he was caught really, really shy. If he was half decent defender wise, we talk about Ashley Cole or any of those that are on the line to clear a ball to cover the keeper. He was poor. What do you think, Mike?
He hasn't had a great couple of games, has he? He has faced some tough opposition with in the Newcastle game, and obviously Richarlison in this game. So he has had some difficult competition there. So I don't know. I think he had a poor couple of games. I still think what did he have, an ACL? So he's still giving time to get rid of that rust. So trying to pick his pace up and stuff. It's just one of the things. Sometimes can you give him that time though? I think that's the question that people need to hear.
People talk about move him on. Would you move him on? Cash in?
I don't know.
He's a funny boy, isn't he? He's a funny boy, Bellerin, because he flatters to deceive. One game you look at him, or for 2 or 3 games, he'll have a run of 2 or 3 games, and you'll think, future Arsenal captain. This boy is the bee's knees, And then he'll go next week. He'll turn up and you won't see anything of him. He's a funny lad, Bellerin. I'm yet to work him out. I am, but he's been at the club a long, long time now, since he was a nipper, isn't he?
Yeah.
So
he's homegrown. He's before he was 16, so he's in that homegrown category. He's considered as like a British player, although I know he can represent Spain. But if he's a bit rusty, why can't Maitland-Niles? I know it's not his natural position, but Maitland-Niles was holding down a position really, really well in there. Corey, who would you have over Maitland-Niles or Bellerin?
I'll stick with Bellerin because he, like Trev said, he's been with us a long time. He's been our number 1 right back for a while. He is coming back from injury. He's only going to get better by playing games. In terms of if you look at potential and who's potentially better out of him and Maitland, I think I've seen more from Bellerin, not consistently, but I've seen more to tell me that he will eventually become, a world-class right back. Whereas Maitland now has done a good job there, but we spoke about players playing out of position. Maitland now sees himself as a midfielder as well. So.
But what's he done wrong that he didn't get a game against Olympiacos on Thursday? Well, we will talk about the Olympiacos game in a little bit, slight more detail, but not a huge amount on Thursday, more from Trevor's point of view than anything else. But we played Mustafi, I think, on the right back on Thursday. What's Maitland? Where's he gone wrong, Corey?
I don't know. You know what? I've not been happy with Arteta's handling of Maitland now since Bellerin's regained fitness. To be honest with you, because Bellerin comes in, and then Maitland now just disappears. He's a versatile player. He's a good player to have on the bench. What game was it where Xhaka had to end up playing at left back? And I remember thinking, where's Maitland now? He would have been really handy to bring off the bench right now, and we could have just slotted him there. But he wasn't even in the squad.
There's no talk. There's no talk of any fitness issues with him. It's either got to be Arteta doesn't like him, and there's an attitude problem.
I'm going to say it's an attitude problem.
You reckon?
I reckon, yeah.
Really,
it all come out about Guendouzi, didn't it? You know, Guendouzi had a big spat up at a dance or something, didn't he, or whatever, a gathering or whatever else. He took his top off or something and started swinging it around, acting like a kid, which is fair enough. He's only 20. Let him get on with it. He's just a lad. We've all been there. I think some of us still do it in our 40s, don't they? Well, 60s with you two.
I'm 49 undefeated, and I sung about it. Okay.
Well, it's no. I think with Maitland-Niles is I think the problem is with Maitland-Niles is he's just got a bit of a big mouth. He's gone on a bit too much about he doesn't like playing there. At the end of the day, Saka, he doesn't. He said he wants to play left wing, but when they turn around and say you need to play left back, he's 18 years old. He's playing left back. He's playing for the shirt. You know, he's doing a job. He's getting involved. He's just doing what he's been asked. Maitland-Niles could do exactly the same. You know,
Give
and
me
he
the
just play right
opportunity
back.
to wear that, and I'll play wherever the bloody hell you want.
Exactly. So, and Maitland-Niles had the perfect opportunity to keep Bellerin on the bench. You know, he was playing well at right back. He's done everything. He was doing everything he was asked.
See, I don't know anything.
He come out. He did come out and he said he wanted to be a midfielder. I don't like playing at right back. I like playing in midfield. And it's like it's ruined him because there's other people in front of him.
Go on, Trev.
See, I don't know anything about I don't know anything about Maitland-Niles' attitude. I've not heard anything on that. And I was wondering what had got off because he's just sort of disappeared very quickly out of the team and out of the squad. Can you not hear me?
We can. And there's just a little bit of a delay.
Hello?
Keep going.
Go on, Trev.
Oh, sorry, boys. No, I was saying very briefly, I don't know what's happened to Andy Maitland-Niles. I never knew he had an attitude problem. That's news to me. But he's I felt a bit sorry for him. He's just disappeared completely off the scene, isn't he? You know. But going back to Saka at left back, I really wish that we could talk him into playing there and staying there. You know, because you can see game for game him growing into that position, and the more he grows into it, the more he gets forward, and the more chances he creates for himself and for others. I mean, that nutmeg the other day against Newcastle. Wow, lovely.
But that he could do that as a winger as well. But that's Arteta's job. You look at what Wenger done with Thierry Henry. Thierry Henry played for France in the World Cup as a left back, World Cup of Euros in 90, whatever it was, and then we signed him and he moved him up the wing, and he ended up becoming the striker and the superstar he was, even if he did handball a goal against Ireland.
But, let it go.
I'm never letting that go. I'm never letting that
Lauren,
go.
There's a name you should
Hand of Frog.
Lauren, right winger, ended up at right back.
There we go. 26 seconds. Actually, just before half time, I watched Match of the Day and people were booing at half time. You know, for Christ's sake, there was a lot of empty seats, so you can't say there was tourists and stuff like that. Who's booing the side? We're doing all right. And I was talking to Potsy about and you, Trev, on the weekend, and we're just talking about how it's such a different atmosphere going to the games this season, and this over the last probably season and a half, where people we don't have the expectations that we're going to win the bloody league, but we're there to support our team. And it just feels more like we're Arsenal fans rather than people that have an automatic right to say we need to be in the FA Cup final, we need to be winning the league. Terry said they were booing the referee. I don't know why they were booing the referee. Terry, you can maybe explain later, and we'll go back to that. But second half, 26 seconds in, Aubameyang's header, Pepe another assist. Pepe is growing, don't you think, Mike?
Oh yeah, 100%. We all said it. He needs to take time. You know, he's coming from the French league. He's going to take a bit of time to come into it. He's still sort of growing in the league. He's growing faster and faster now. But we all said it was going to take time, and it's working out well for him. And the crosses that he's been putting in have been brilliant. He's taking corners now as well, which I've noticed on that right hand side. So that it's making a massive difference.
And then after that went in, well, again, a lot of people missed that one, me included, because we were still stuck in the bar getting a beer at half time. And it went to VAR, I think, as well. But from then on in, it was more or less, Corey, it was more or less all Everton pressure. There was an awful lot of pressure. And we defended as a unit. And Arteta talked about after the game on his post-match interview about the being as a collective and defending as a collective is the basis where everything starts from. What did you make of the second half? And what did you make of how we withstood that Everton pressure, which did seem like it was coming on and on and on in waves?
It's still not something I really like to see. Like it's happened in a few games. Quite a few games, only all games actually, where we have to really sit back and deal with waves and waves of attack at us, and we can't really seem to stop it when we want. We have to sort of wait for them to run out of energy before we sort of get back into the game. It's still something that we need to learn to stop. It's improved because it was really bad under Emery. It's improved after with Arteta. He knows he's introduced things like tactical fouls. When you do give away a free kick, make sure you kick the ball away, disrupt their rhythm and whatnot. But we're still not quite there yet. So it's still something I expect against any team pretty much that we're going to have to deal with that level of pressure and just hope that it doesn't cost us. And to be honest with you, it hasn't really cost us that much since Arteta's come in. I've seen it a lot, but in terms of the other team actually putting the ball in the net, we've done okay.
Okay. And Eddie came close. He hit the. Is it the bar or the post just on that corner? The corner of the bar. Crossbar. Yeah. He hit there, and it was what I liked about that was his poacher stance, just standing on the edge of the box, waiting for the ball to break free and just pick up on those loose balls. And I thought he was really unlucky. Not to score on that one. It probably would have been slightly against the run of play because of what we said a few minutes ago about the amount of work and effort that Everton would put in. Leno kept us in the game. He was a sweeper keeper at points. He came right out and done some clearing, which I didn't think he had the best first half, but I thought in the second half, in particular, he was much better. We criticised.
He got an absolute bollocking at halftime.
You reckon?
Oh yeah, 100%. He must have got an absolute roasting from Arteta. He had a really poor first half, and then second half it was unreal. Yes, it's like where have you turned up from?
Well, we again, I know we flicked back to the Burnley game because we were together there, and again, it's different when you're watching a game in the stands and where we were right behind him in that first half. Looking at his distribution seemed really slow and stagnant, and he seemed to slow down the play and stuff like that. And he was doing that again in the first half against Everton, and he was a bit loose on some of the stuff he was doing. But in the second half, as you say, he had a rocket put up somewhere, and he was much better.
Manuel Neuer in disguise.
What's that? A Neuer
in disguise.
Ceballos and Xhaka. What do we think of this pairing? Ceballos and Xhaka. Well, you touched on it earlier, Mike. I think. Trev, what you make of that that pairing of those two?
No problem with it. I'd prefer Ceballos to get his hair cut. To be honest, I'm not happy about that silly ponytail on his head. But apart from that, they're working all right, and Xhaka's effort levels have gone up. He's starting. The fans are starting to come around to him a little bit again. You know, well, I am. Yeah, I am. You know, and when he walked around the field, the pitch at the end, Xhaka was very demonstrative with the fans clapping and cheering. So yeah, yeah, I've got no problem with Ceballos and Xhaka. I just feel a bit sorry for Torreira, to be honest, because I love the way Torreira's effort levels are right up.
Okay, so you got Torreira, you got Guendouzi, and you got Ceballos and Xhaka. Who would, out of those four, who would be your preferred partnership? Or, as I've suggested before, could you rotate Ozil and Guendouzi?
At the moment, going purely on the last 3 or 4 weeks' form, I would pick Ozil in front of Guendouzi. Me, I never thought I'd hear the day I'd say it, but I would actually pick Ozil in front of Guendouzi, going on very recent form. Much the same as I just said, Xhaka's come back into the fold. Ceballos seems to be playing better than when he was, than when at the start of the season. So, and Guendouzi's even seeming to cut out, falling on the floor a bit. So any of them, as I said right at the start of this show, any of them for me, whatever Arteta picks, I'll go with, and we'll see how we go. I don't think any of them have played badly enough to me feel I don't want them to be in the side. Let's put it that way.
In fairness, I know I said about Xhaka that I don't particularly. I'd never want to see him in a shirt again after his behaviour, what he did after the Palace game. But his performance on Sunday was excellent. His performance over the last 4 or 5 weeks has been excellent. Likewise with Mustafi and other players that we've criticised over the time. The one thing I found a little bit strange, and you type of half touched on it, but you guys watching on TV, Corey, you can go first. Ozil's performance overall, there was people singing his name. They were hanging from the rafters. He got a standing ovation. And I didn't see it.
Do you know what? There's still a large collective of fans that want to love Ozil. Because he's that, Ozil at his best is the type of player that any fan wants at their club. That amount of talent, that passing ability, that movement. So they still really just hope that he can get back to it. So any little thing that he does, any forward pass, they celebrate it. For me, that's sort of what you're talking about with the midfield. I think you do have to stick with the midfield as it is, because we've actually scored the most amount of goals since Arteta's come in with this midfield trio. Because what we got 4 against Newcastle, we should have got about 3 against Olympiacos, and we've got 3 against Everton. So before we were struggling for goals, it was too many draws, a lot of 1-1s. Ceballos has come in. It seems to be working. Ozil's he's not stood out for me. He's done okay. You know what I mean? He's not been given a ball away or anything. But yeah, people's, going a bit overboard with his performances. I'm not sure about that, but I still would stick with him.
There's lots of comments about people. I don't know if it's the attraction that we've got here, but it seems that we're a little bit more level on here. I think Ozil is an amazing player. I think on his day he can be a worldly player, but I haven't seen that for a number of years in red and white or yellow or whatever color shirt we're playing. And I do think some of it is just people just like the brand Ozil. Listen, we've done enough on that game. We've done way over the top.
Ozil's taking credit for other people.
Go on, Trev.
I'm sorry, I said it after the Newcastle game. Ozil's taking credit for other people's work rate. I'm sorry.
Ozil is nowhere at the level that he was, that we know he can be. Now, remember last season's Europa League final, boys? I tore him to pieces. I was very unhappy with him. But he is better than he was, like the rest of the team. And do you know what? The reason we were able to have this great debate, boys, about our midfield and even about our defence is because at the moment you can actually make a case for any of them getting in the side. On their day, you can make a case for any of them being in the starting lineup because they've all picked it up. It's a lovely debate to have, and it's a lovely place to be in. You know,
I
was going to say before we move on to that, I was going to agree with Trevor about Xhaka as well. He has stepped up a bit. No, I don't feel he should be in an Arsenal search, so I'm still with you, Fergus, in that sort of sense. But he has stepped up his play and he's playing really well. Ceballos, I said it on the last game as well. That guy can hit a ball on a 5-pence piece. His passing range and everything else is unbelievable. And he has lost the ball a couple of times. He does lose it. He's not in a defensive mid, though, so he's playing where Touré would probably normally play. So he does get a bit muffled up with that one a bit. But I just feel with Xhaka and Ceballos playing relatively well together at the minute, I think Ozil's taking a lot of that credit, and I don't like it. I really don't like it. I don't agree with it. He made one decent pass, and that was to Pepe to cross it in to Aubameyang for the goal.
Agreed.
That was the only pass I saw Ozil play, and that was the only decent pass I saw him play.
Agreed. Olympiacos away. Trevor, you took the trip out to Athens. We done that little morning piece from outside the stadium, which was really, really good and really, really gives you a nice flavour of the build-up of the day and everything else. An absolute crap time for kickoff. 10 p.m. at night locally, 8 p.m. here. It should have been an earlier game. Laka and again Ozil's their performances. I messaged you, I think, at half-time about Lacazette because we talked before the game and said about lineups and should Ozil play, should Lacazette start. I had said it would be better to start with Martinelli and then bring Lacazette on with 20 minutes so he boosts his confidence, get an away goal maybe. And at half-time, I messaged you that, and you actually agreed because he was poor in the first half, don't you think?
Yeah, it wasn't brilliant, but what you got to remember is it was a European away against an half-decent, not the best Olympiacos side, but a half-decent Olympiacos side. And it was my first visit to Olympiacos, and their fans are amazing. Passionate and loud. Well, not to me, they weren't. And I only talk as I find, they were passionate and they lifted them through that first half. And I thought we really put a shift in, and to nick the win was lovely at the end. I've once again, Laka wasn't brilliant, but then again, the ball wasn't getting forward as much as we'd like. Boys, I'd had a few beers. Did he miss an early chance? He did, didn't he?
Yeah.
He missed an early chance. Yeah, that was. And I thought to myself, oh, it's going to be one of them nights. They're going to go away now and turn it around, but they didn't. We were all right, and then he got his goal at the end, and I was over the moon for him, to be honest. But it was a great day. You see, what you got to remember is, boys, Fergus, you touched on it just now. It was a 10 p.m. kickoff. So by the time it comes to kickoff, we've had a few beers, and so the game's brilliant, but you don't remember a lot of it, if I'm honest. It might be an age thing as well, It might be an age thing as well.
Trevor, 4:30 on a Sunday kickoff can be difficult for me to remember some of it.
Yeah, we'll move on to that shortly. But you see what happens is, right? It's a 10 p.m. kickoff. And then when you play these games in them countries, they don't let you out of the ground straight away, 70 minutes, an hour and 10 minutes after the end of the game, we were still locked in the ground.
But you had some entertainment.
We did. Our righty came out and said hello. And I don't know if you wouldn't have seen it on the telly. It was lovely seeing Righty, and they sang his name. They sang it loud. I'm proud. But also, some of the Arsenal players come out and had a warm down after all the Olympiacos fans had gone. And then Holding and the new lad Mari done a couple of laps of the pitch on their own after, and Holding entertained us a bit by sliding around. And then Mari done a lap of the pitch on his own, and he come over to the Arsenal fans in the corner and give it the old badge kiss, So I don't know how we read into that, but it was good, and it was a great trip. And Mari seemed very passionate.
Listen, Trev. There are no mugs. They've only lost to Bayern Munich and to us in Europe in I don't know how long. And we're playing them again. Laka got his away goal, so that's his fourth away goal in any game since 2017. Hopefully, that might unlock him a little bit. Corey, what's your expectations of Thursday night, tomorrow night?
Win. Just I think we got to a bit of a shaky start. They were really like putting it on us at the start. But we then came into the game, we created some chances. We should have scored more. So I expect more of the same at home. When you take a 1-0 away, then you definitely expect to go through the tie. I don't expect us to let it slip at this point. So I think a sort of nice, comfortable win at home. I think they'll be going for it, but we can match them, and I think we'll score again, and I think we'll wrap it up.
So what's your score prediction then for tomorrow?
2-1.
Oh, okay. That makes it a little bit tight. It depends on when they score that one goal.
Yeah, I think they might, because I think they're really going to be going for it. And as we discussed earlier, when we're a bit under pressure, we tend to sit back and we let the teams come onto us. And they're very capable of getting a goal if we allow them to to pressure us like that. But I think we'll make sure that we'll score more than them.
Okay, Mike, what's your thoughts on tomorrow night's game? Do you see it as an exciting game? Do you see it as a win and going through? What's your score prediction?
Well, I don't know. I could probably see us going through, but I think it's probably going to be a bit tight again. So I'm probably going to say my score prediction is probably going to be 1-0.
Okay, Trev, your thoughts on it?
Yeah, do you know what? I agree with both Corey and Mike. I think it's going to be tighter than you think, but I'll be very, very disappointed if we didn't come away and be in that draw on Friday for the next round. As a matter of fact, I'll be more than disappointed. I'll be shocked. So I'm with Mike. I think it might be a little 1-0. I think we'll play it tight and sneak a win. I can't go now, Fergus. Unfortunately, I'm having to miss the game. So. But I think we'll nick a win. It'll be tight, and we'll be in that draw on Friday. And I've just seen the result come through. Rangers have just won, haven't they? So they're in the draw on Friday as well.
That'd be a nice trip. Maybe not for me. Maybe not for me.
Good luck with
that. Right. So I'm going. I think I'm going to agree with Mike. I think 1-0 as a victory, although I can see it being something really tight. A 0-0, a 1-1. I don't see a lot of goals in this. We've got Pompey then on Monday in the FA Cup. You're going down to that one, Trev, aren't you?
I most certainly am, Fergus. Yes, I'm staying. I'm most definitely. Sorry, I'm in this big horrible chair in this caravan. I'm slumping a bit. I do apologise. Yeah, going down on Monday. Got to stop over again because it's another Monday night game. Thank you very much, TV companies.
Yeah.
But we're booked in a hotel. Me and Terry are going down, and once again, no, we are not sharing a room. He snores like a horse. That Terry Greenwood snores like a horse, right? Under no circumstances. If you paid me £1,000 a night, Fergus, I wouldn't share a room with him. Let me tell you. But yeah, it's. I'll be very shocked if we don't turn Portsmouth over as well, because I think we're now at a level where we'll beat Portsmouth and we'll have a good night down there. Yeah. So I'm going down Monday.
One of my colleagues in work is a Portsmouth fan. He travels home and away. I think he's a debenture holder and everything else as well. So he's Portsmouth through and through. And I spoke to him when the draw happened, and I said, "What do you reckon?" He says, and this is before we started improving the way we have been. He says it really depends how serious we take it. And I do think Arteta will take every competition that we're in seriously, and it's about a winning mentality right through to the end of the season and see where we end up. Corey and Mike, what's your thoughts on the Pompey game? Do you think we're going through on that one?
Yeah. I think obviously he's got to rotate, but I think we've got quite a few players that are sort of, want to get some minutes in, and yeah, it would be too much for them. Definitely. I'd definitely say win.
Yeah, I agree with Corey. I think we're going to win that one. Yeah, definitely.
And okay, we got Pompey away, but in the league, the following three games after that, who is it? We've got West Ham Is it Southampton?
And Brighton Fergus as well. Is it
Yeah,
Brighton,
yeah.
mate?
Yeah, Brighton's one of the games. Yeah.
Yeah, we got Southampton and Brighton and West Ham. Those 3 games, I'd like to see 9 points. I don't see West Ham. Okay, West Ham are, they're in deep crap at the minute, and they look like they're probably going down.
Played well against Liverpool. I think they were unlucky.
They were unlucky against Liverpool. But I'd like to see 9 points out there. Can you see anything less than 9 points? Anybody out of those 3 games?
Yeah.
No.
I Southampton are tricky. West Ham have got good players that on their day can cause anyone problems. It's a cliche, but it's true. Brighton, I've got bad memories of us playing Brighton last season, towards the end of the season.
I thought you were totally else with that.
No. But with our form as it is, picking up their form as it is, I would expect us to get 9 points. But with this season, you never know.
It's going to use.
Corey's right again. Sorry, Fergus. I would be very disappointed if we don't come out with 9 points. But I went to both Southampton and Brighton away last season, and you're right, Corey, mate. We struggled at Brighton and we struggled at Southampton. We struggled against their big defenders, to be honest. That they outsized us, outmuscled us a little bit. But I would like to think that with the way our team's improved and our effort levels have gone up, we might be able to nullify that this year. So I'm hopeful of 9 points. And with the way teams above us are yo-yoing, 9 points for the next 3 games will see us, I would hope, not far off a 4th spot, probably 3 or 4 points off a 4th spot instead of the current 7. So let's hope for the 9 points, yeah.
And not that we worry about that lot down the road, but they haven't got any strikers as such. They got some young guy called Parrott, who they possibly will be playing up front. We're 3 points behind them. I've not looked at who they're playing, but I think they've got a tougher next 3 games in the league than us.
I'm going to say it now. I expect Tottenham Day to come back this season. I think we can finish above them.
Good. I like you, Corey. You can come again.
They just don't look great. Like you said, no Kane, no Son. I mean, where these goals coming from? Where are these wins going to come from for them? Mourinho has, for me, he's lost it. I definitely think we can overtake them and stay there.
Well, the biggest disruptor in that squad is Dele Alli, and Dele Alli had a few games where Mourinho thought he was the dog's nuts and this, that, and the other. What's that? Sorry, you were cracking up there, but I think
yeah. Sorry, mate, I had a cough. Yeah. I coughed there, mate.
But Dele Alli, I think, is as bad as Mourinho is as a member of a team, and I think he could pull him apart. And I don't think his poor attitude, as much as sometimes he can be a good player, his poor attitude, I think, will cause them some downfall. On top of Mourinho's imploding that he does once he starts losing the dressing room the wrong way. I suppose the only other thing that...
They're lucky to have a midfielder, right? He should be easy. Had a red card on his last game. That Lo Celso. How bad is VAR?
You know what? I actually watched that live in the pub, and we talked about it, Trev, on Sunday. And I actually thought the way that Lo Celso pulled out of the original tackle, where he was type of scissors kicked by, I don't know who it was beforehand, and then he jumped out of that and he landed on Azpilicueta, who put his foot in to clear the ball, and he did get the ball, Azpilicueta. But I thought, well, no, there was no intent or another. Yes, it was a horrible tackle. But I went, no red card. And that's
it was definitely a red card.
100%. I'm probably wrong, but I thought no red card. But I don't want to get into that debate. The one thing that could happen between now and, I don't know, well, that definitely end of the season. They're talking about the Olympics. They're talking about the Euros. They're talking about all sorts of things that could be cancelled. The coronavirus, now the Camden virus, we know is quite serious. And that can cause all sorts of vocal and mental issues. But the coronavirus is something that everybody seems to be taking very, very serious. Do you think they'll start looking at like games and stuff like that? Trev, we talked slightly beforehand, and you said you take it into consideration. Go on.
Well, are they going to have any option but to consider it, Fergus? You know, I mean, this thing's killing thousands of people, and it's now starting to kill thousands of people all over the world, and large gatherings. Well, it's all over the world. It's killed thousands of people. It's killed thousands of people in China, and it's spreading. You know, I'm not dooming and glooming it, but you've got to be realistic. So, of course, it could cause problems where there's mass gatherings of people. You know. I hope it doesn't. I hope they come out with a whatever they need to do and get rid of it pretty soon, you know. But you do have to consider it, and you do have to be serious about it. You know, it's not a laughing matter. People are losing their lives daily now, and it's spreading around the world. You know, I heard there was the first outbreak in Greece today, so it's now down in Greece. You know, and Italy's getting it badder. The rugby's in doubt, isn't it? So
the rugby been cancelled in Ireland. Yeah. The Ireland-Italy game has been postponed.
Oh, it's been postponed now, is it, mate? I knew it was thinking of postponing it, but we do have to take it seriously, and we do have to talk about it. We don't brush it under the carpet. We talk about it, and it concerns me greatly, you know. And because I don't like to see people ill, and I don't like to see people dying, and that's what's happening. So we need to stop it. And if part of the actions that stops it is just knocking football on here for a while, you know, football will always come back. People don't, you know. So we have to get our priorities right and think about what actions they take. And I'll agree with anything they do if it keeps people safe. Sorry, Fergus, bleated on a bit there, mate.
No. It's fine. I think the numbers you talk about, like saying thousands, are incorrect. There's a few hundred that have died. Lots of people have got the infection, but I don't think it's killed loads and loads of people yet. But that could happen. But the flu does every year. I asked an Amazon device. I can't say it because there's one right beside me. Last year, how many people died of influenza? And it says 36,000 people in the United States alone died of influenza-related illness last year. So, you know, I've got Arneson who says influenza killed 9,000 people in Norway last year. So, like, you know, the flu does. So some of this is blown out by the media. But I think that this particular strain is just that little bit more fearful. I think it's the percentage of mortality rate is above 2%, and that's why it is. I wouldn't like to see football curtailed, but like you, Trev, if it needs to be, it needs to be. But you know, people just need to be sensible. Wearing paper masks is not going to do anything. Just wash your hands. Don't cough and spit everywhere and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, it's for all them dirty bastards who can't be bothered to wash their hands after they've been for a pee at the toilet.
Yeah,
it's not hard. It takes a minute, less than a minute, just to wash your hands.
Yeah,
it's not hard.
Boys,
sorry, I had to throw that in there.
No, that's fine. We've done public health. We've done Arsenal. We've done everything. Corey, your lighting is wonderful again, as always.
I'm glad you like it.
Yeah. Trev, the caravan has been a success-ish.
What? We're not finishing this yet, Fergus. There's another matter we've not covered. There's another matter we have not covered. Very important matter. Your behaviour on Sunday, young man. The entertainment value was perfection. Yeah, perfection. My lovely wife has not stopped speaking about it all week. How your singing in an empty Emirates Stadium was echoing all around the ground. Yeah, probably the loudest singing that's been in there for many a year. Yeah, it was, and I'm sure that Tony Adams, even the statue, had his eardrums burst when you were leant against him in your stupor, singing to him. But I must say, right before we go, what a fantastic day we had on Sunday, and it was a fantastic trip to Athens as well with some great people. So it's part of the Arsenal family, you know. It's lovely. It's lovely.
What we said earlier, it seems that this year and maybe last year, but this year just seems so much different than other years in supporting Arsenal. I've been a season ticket holder now for about 10 years. I've been going to Arsenal for nearly 20 years on and off with various bits and pieces. But it just this year seems there's a good bunch of people outside Block 5 as well at half time. There was James, there was Emmett, there was all the other guys that came and stood there. There was Ed from South Africa. There was all of us, and we just meet and we just chat, and it just feels much more like an old Arsenal family again, Trev, don't you think?
It does. It does. Do you think it's because we've got that little bit easier to watch, Ferguson? Everyone's a little bit more positive. I know we're not a finished article yet. I know we're not, but it is easier to watch the Arsenal these last.
You know what? I don't think it's necessarily easier. I think the atmosphere among the fans themselves, they're happier with Arteta. They're not like at each other's throat over Wenger or over Emery in and out and getting bored with the football. But I also think there's an element of, it's not about the football. It is about the social. We've type of accepted our lot as we are, and we're willing to stay at the stay in there for the long term, and just support our team regardless of where we end up. I ended up on Arsenal Fans TV after the Brighton game just before Christmas on the Thursday night. Mike, that face, Mike. And I asked the crowd that were around us, would they still support us if we got relegated? I know I would. I know you other guys on here would support Arsenal, no matter what league they're in. And it is, as Matt has said, putting some effort in. We've said it time after time after time. It's about if they turn up and they leave their everything on the pitch, we'll support them. And we didn't see that all the time. And I think it's that, and there's just a bit more ease about us as a fan base. What do you guys think from afar? Like you watch more on. It's Camden Beers. You watch from afar and don't get to do as many games, Corey and Mike. Like Mike, you do more the away ones, and the away is a different atmosphere again completely. But the Corey, what do you think? What do you think might have changed?
Expectations for what you think, where you think Arsenal should be, and how they should be operating as a club. You've got some fans who, like you, that I support the team no matter what. Doesn't matter where we end up, even if we're relegated. And there's some that think that the club and the team should have maintained a higher standard.
We should have, but
yeah, should have, but it's like, well, we were told that this is going to be our level, that we're going to be a top team. And so therefore, that's what a lot of people got invested in. And then if that hasn't transpired, then what do? It's like, okay, then you have to keep lowering your expectations. And some people are not comfortable doing that because the club want you to lower your expectations. They just want to be able to just, charge you whatever they want to charge you for your season ticket and hope that you'll pay it no matter what. Now, is that right? If we're looking at, consumers and owners, should it be right that you're going to pay the money no matter what, watching subpar performances, watching just okay players, when you're paying more than what Real Madrid fans are paying? So it's for me, I can see both sides. I can see everybody's point of view. I wouldn't be happy paying for a subpar product in any other walk of life. So if I were going to a restaurant and their food is not as good as it used to be, am I going to continue going? No, I'm going to probably want to go somewhere else where it's better.
I get that. I get that, and I understand that, and I'm very much at the same ilk in everything else in life, except for when it comes to what we do here, how we behave. I don't behave like I normally behave at football. every other day of the week. I let myself go. I enjoy myself.
So
I
for
should
you,
hope
you
not.
enjoy so you enjoy the social aspect of it.
Absolutely, as well as the football. But yeah, it is.
But the social plays a big part, because if you stop going to matches, you're not going to see the lads, and it's a good time for you no matter what. But for some people, their social aspect is a lot less. Some people go just to watch the football. I've gone to matches and there's guys standing just by themselves. They don't really have anyone around them that they're cheering with or anything.
Well,
They've gone just to see what's on the pitch.
That's how I started going. My season tickets on my own. I met Trevor through Johnny, and all the others that meet at Block 5. Most of us are all just single guys on single season tickets, single silvers, and we just all have gathered and we built a social circle together. And maybe that's what it is, Trev. Maybe that's what's got better. Like Mike, you've come down there, and it's a good laugh. And how you met me was via Arsenal Fans Forum, and then you came down to an Everton game towards the end of the season. You introduced to the lads, and
Burnley.
The rest is history.
That Burnley game, wasn't it?
Burnley,
Arsene Wenger's last game, home game.
Yeah. Listen, we can go
this
on
is why I get the ump. Listen, this is why I get the ump about the TV, right? We play Wolves on Easter Monday. There'll be 7 games this season on a Monday night, 6 of them away from home. And it needs to be said that it doesn't help us fans. Corey, you're right again. I keep agreeing with you tonight. I keep saying to myself, why do I go? Why do I go to the Arsenal? The last couple of seasons when we're being awful, why am I keeping going? We keep going because we're fans, but we also fortunately have a great social life at the Arsenal as well, And these Monday night games ruin it. Well, we've got to be idiots, haven't we, really, Got to be idiots. But anyway, I'll be there on Monday night, and I'll be there again against the Wolves game. I don't know why I do it, but I love it. So
I agree with you there, Trev. Monday night, 8 o'clock on Easter Monday. It's ridiculous. That absolutely ridiculous.
I might.
You've got no chance.
I might try and get Easter Monday one. I'll see what's going on. I got lots going on at the minute. So, right, okay, guys. We have overran, but that's normally par from the course. I thank you again, everybody, for joining in the chat. And obviously, you guys joining in here, joining in the conversation. This, as we demonstrated at the end, is an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. If you like what we do, you can like and subscribe us on YouTube, Periscope now as well. I don't even know how it works, but Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. On Twitter, we're at Guns and Ribbons. On everything else, we're at Guns and Yellow Ribbons. Thank you very much, everybody. And Trev, you can say the closing line.
Up the Arsenal. I don't say up the Arsenal. Come on.
You just did.